Hi, my name is Josh Gill, and this is my cs122 final project. This is the presentation. So I apologize for a little bit of low audio. That's just how this mic's going to roll. So, just starting off, so with our read on the patient kind of data, I took from the article and kind of focused a little bit more on the ejection fraction, the serum and creatine, kind of just age in general, because it's always usually a huge factor with this. So I went straight into just kind of looking at a pair plot. Really took notice that that age had kind of such a big distribution, pretty tall and pretty wide. So did kind of time, and then so did the ejection fraction. Those all just kind of had the biggest widths of them, kind of like overall distribution of the data. So I kind of more focused a little there. It's like I kind of looked at the ejection fraction versus the serum, the creatine, just to kind of look at, here are the most two importance, how do they look at when you kind of graph them. And it was like the survived patients, it was all kind of almost average. Smoking did a little bit worse for males. And then kind of looked at it, then just ejection fraction to age, and it was generally like you would more die even with a higher ejection fraction. Well, this is the ejection fraction that's under 50%, which means you're pumping less than 50% of the blood in for the heart. Usually you're 50 or higher. So this is all the patients just below. And you can just see that the survived patients are just higher overall. So then I tried looking at age and the serum creatine, and you could just see that there was almost always the ones that had passed on were a higher amount. It wasn't by much, but they were always higher. Nothing really coming up in their creatine phosphine levels. And then their kind of sodium, was it with the C's definitely had a little lower, but not really much. So didn't really have too much play. All that was in normal means of sodium levels. So I still decided to then split it into categories by age. I decided to do my ages at gaps of 10, based on what we had 40 to 90. So, and kind of how much wasn't really much for the 80 or 90. So it's just like, all right, we'll put them together then. So I separated into ages, and then, went through. I decided to try the just did the compare for a random percent versus the strat, just to show it off again. Then, so for my pipeline, I decided to I left the simple immuter in there in case somehow there was a missing value that could be averaged. Though there shouldn't, like I already checked and there wasn't, but that was just a one. I left the combined attributes in there in case I wanted to come back and try like adding a new column. That was kind of when I went within this. I couldn't find anything I wanted to combine or add. Like there was one, but I'm like, it doesn't tell you anything. So I didn't feel any reason to add it. And then did the standard scalar because of the numbers to standardize them. So because there were no actual categories, that was all we had to do. So I just went with the number pipeline, and then I started with logistic regression because I decided I was going to take like a kind of a spread of the different machine algorithms, see of the classification variety, and see which ones. I just kind of try a different span of a couple of them. So I wanted to pick the logistics version because I learned from the hands-on that it existed, so I wanted to give it a try. I copied most of all the stats that were like on the hands-on for it, which worked pretty good. 0.81, 81%, not bad for its prediction on it. So then I tried the Gaussian naive Bayes, which didn't really have any parameters that I understood, at least I could use, or how to use it, because it kind of wanted prior knowledge or other information, because that's kind of how naive Bayes looked a little more. Wanted like a predetermined or a previous like answer. So that went into as well 79, and then I decided to try the linear SVC. It was one I heard about, and I wanted to try more with the vector and see how that went. One got 0.83, so that one did better, definitely. So that was kind of an improvement on that one. Then I tried the decision tree because we've used it, and I used it in the last one, and it seemed fairly simple, so I just stuck with the random. I tried a couple random states, kind of going around from small, big, and 2 was the best one to give me the smallest standard deviation out of everything else, with the highest percentage of 0.79. So I stuck with that one. And then I did also the neural network. Wanted to try that one out. I saw some others were saying that they liked it, so I stuck kind of that one from the solver and the alpha were definitely from the hands-on 15. And then I played around with the max iter, the hidden layer, and the random state a little bit. The hidden layer sizes kind of more had to stay at 5.2. Anything else just didn't was just worse. So it didn't really stay. The most was I got a random state a little bit around. The 2 gave me the 80% accuracy. Then the last one I did was the random forest classifier, and I toyed around mostly with max death and random state a bit. I went around from 2, 3, and 4. 4 gave me the best, and random state 1 was the best, best 88% accuracy with the lowest standard deviation. So that was what I kind of went with. And when I did my rock curve, it was a little weird. I don't know what it was. Don't exactly fully understand for the decision tree fitting it. So I think that somehow overfitted it itself in the curve. I'm not exactly sure how that went. And then the ML classifier was close. And then it was my random forest. Now, but because my ML classifier that was the 80%, so I decided not to run it kind of for the grid search I did. I went with the random forest because that one at least performed very well, and I kind of understood that one a little bit more to customize the grid search with. So did the standard. So I tried a couple more things, but I tweaked and tried, and those didn't really change anything. So the most results were doing a different max death of 2, 3, 4. Those got different results. I tried different sets in the N estimators. That did a little bit. And then tiny bit just trying to look at different max features based on it, how many it would look at. So that one really, as the results kind of really went with, a lot of them were near the same. So some of the max death, 3 and 4 could get them, but they actually, depending on which of the max features, was really one of the most important. Definitely the log 2 seemed to choose one, and then some of the square would do it with the larger amount of N estimators. So there was though nothing here seemed to test a better result than what I was already getting out of it. So I went with the best one, which was they had a max depth of 3, the auto features 5, and just 10 estimators. Took that one into the test, and we got an 80%, a 0.8. So not the best. I mean, it was a little less, and that's what you expect with these. That is going to be less. So it wasn't bad. I definitely, it's one of these. I kind of think maybe there was more in the parameters I could have tuned with the grid search and tested, but I really wasn't sure. Some of them didn't feel like they were doing it. Some of them were very specific, like if it's, the feature one is this choice, some of them mattered and some of them didn't. So it was a little like, wasn't sure which ones to kind of do there. But yeah, so that was just kind of where it was, just like there wasn't really much else. A lot of it's just like I wasn't understanding. So I did some experimenting with the grid search, and when I did the algorithms themselves, which definitely told me that there are those parameters do matter, the ones, but I couldn't find, I guess, the ones that maybe would have tweaked this more to try and get it. I think the estimators, maybe I should have just gone with a higher one. That was the value one it seemed to feel best at. Other than that, there wasn't really much else with this. Do you have anything else? I gotta say, I will say though, this was very interesting to go through the data and try and kind of set it up. It took a bit to understand grid search, but once I actually understood how grid search worked, it's a great thing for that. It just takes a little bit of understanding it, but that was a great great thing is, as I had, like you could see as it ran all these different tests, all the features, and so you can see some of them are different. Like just here on the 4 between, like even 100 apparently was better than 1,000 in the end, just by a little more accurate. So there's tweaks in that. Maybe I want to play with more like just 100, 200, 300, maybe try some of those. But other than that, not really much else in that. So 80%, not bad. I don't think I'm getting the extra credit, but that's probably about where we'll be. All right. Wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Have a happy holidays. And I hope you all do well.